So with our ball bounce lab, hopefully you have written that up at the top with your name and all that. All right, so I think most of our questions were which ball will bounce the highest, right? Some of you may have said which ball will stay in the air longest after it hits the ground. So that would be another way that you could look at it and measure it. So for those two things, we then had to write down our previous knowledge. So maybe we wrote down something we knew about the golf ball. Maybe something about the basketball. Maybe something about the tennis ball. Hopefully you have these things down. If not, make sure you're trying to catch up. And then your hypothesis is based on that prior knowledge, right? I think that this ball is going to bounce highest based on what I know. What was our independent variable? This was our type of ball.
Type of ball.
And then the thing that we recorded was either how high it went, height of bounce, or how long, maybe.
Ball bounce.
I don't know. What are some things we needed to keep constant? Yeah.
Force.
So the force. How can we keep the force constant? Can we just drop it?
The force.
So drop versus throw, right? If we throw it, there's no way we can control the force unless we put it into a machine like a pitching machine, right? What else, McKenna? Excellent. So we want to keep the material dropped on constant. So if we're testing a couple of them in the grass and then all of a sudden we're testing them on the sidewalk, it's going to be different, right? That's doesn't help our experiment. So those are some things to think about. If you use a particular ball each time, maybe not changing with your partners when you're recording it. So like say one group has a basketball that they're figuring out how high they dropped, right? And then switching up, grabbing a different basketball from another group. I don't know. Right? All right, lots of extra conversations going on right now. The expectation though is that you're not talking. Other expectation is that we're keeping our hands to ourselves and respecting each other. All right. Materials. Hopefully you've written your materials down. A lot of you forgot some materials though, because I think only one group used a yardstick to measure. So either we have to figure out how high it is by maybe marking with tape up on the building and then measuring it, or we have to figure out timing. So maybe when the ball hits the ground, we time how long it's in the air. I don't know. Right? If you, I think iPhones have like a measuring thing on their phone that you could probably measure with, if you know how to use that. So make sure you're including that in your material though. I have a yardstick and you may have a phone on you, even though it's supposed to be off in the way. Hopefully you have your Chromebook so you can record those things today. I think a lot of you realize, like, oh crap, how do I have any data that's not qualitative, right? We were able to eyeball which ball bounced the highest, for sure, but we were able to say by how much or make it so that it was replicable. And a good experiment is always replicable, and we want to have quantitative data, right? Okay, so we might have to look at our method then too. What are you going to do so that your experiment can be replicated? So that Trevor can do the same thing. So that Gabby can do the same thing. Right, Rhiannon? Yeah. All right. Okay, so I'm going to give you about 10 minutes or so to be sure, maybe a little longer, that we've all got good steps and we're fixing things and ready to go. So find your group from last week, and then if you can pull in whoever wasn't here into your groups, that would be appreciated. So be sure you're checking. Is it replicable? Do you have quantitative data? Is your table in Google Classroom complete? When it is, you may turn it in Google Classroom. You also need to have this packet complete. All right? Use this time. Get it done.